Yeah, good morning, fellow gamers. It is I once again, Sire the Risen, with another Division video. Yeah, I'm back on Division. When I can't play Destiny, and Destiny, basically, when you're not in a clan, you can only do certain things and only go so far. And then basically, like, I jump on Division because I need a challenge. Like, I'm good at Destiny PvP, but I suck now at Division PvP. So, and anybody that has played both games knows that it's two different type of gun skills in order to excel in this game. And I know striker in this game right now is king, but you still have to have gun skills, and you can't come in here thinking, oh, since I'm a king at Destiny, I'm gonna be a king at Division. No, you're gonna be sadly mistaken. The learning curve on this game is a lot, I say, a lot more difficult than it is on Destiny. If for the simple fact you don't have supers, you might have ults, but you're not throwing Nova bombs, and you're not using Stormcaller or Hammer. So one of those to get you out of the situation when you're dealing with a crowd. Ults only allow you to maybe survive longer. Some give you a slight damage buff. Some uh, might give you a burst of heal in order to get you to the next point, or damage resistance with the blue. But I'm not going to get into this to try to compare games, because both games are obviously probably the best right now and have been the best for a while. So, it just, if you trying to get into like certain if you're trying to learn how to really get your PvP on, these are the two games that you want to do. That's Destiny and this is Division, and but they're totally different. Can't compare them. They're just both like awesome in their own ways. Like, really, the gunplay in both of these games are the best. But that's besides the point. I don't want to stray from the sole intent of this video, but the video, which is basically made for me to throw out ideas. Sorry, ADD has always been a problem, so I'm gonna be all over the place with my ideas. But I'm figuring if maybe another person that creates content that has a larger audience and can formulate their words and thoughts a lot better, they might be able to fix it and make it better, like the idea, because I'm sure it's probably crossed a few people's minds what it should be. But basically, I'm thinking a 4v4 with modifiers. If you have a private match, you can make your own modifiers, but both teams have to agree on it. You have to be able to either come to some conclusion, or maybe have like some type of voting system. And if a certain amount of votes go in, but you're given certain options, and then within them options you can make, you can set your modifiers according to what's open for them options. So I'm thinking, outside of a private match, everybody wears gold. It's RNG based. So basically, if that day the modifier is set all golds, but basically no DPS, just all heals. So it's like you're still in gun battles, but your set is not made to really do DPS. It does like a certain amount of damage. Well, I'll say like a good amount of damage, but it's not made for DPS. It's just mostly one of those survival builds. No gear sets, just all golds. Every mode that you participate in the 4v4 will be golds. It won't be no gear sets. The only way you can use gear sets is if both sides agree to it and it's a private match. Outside a private match, you cannot use green gear sets. You have to use gold. And like I said, the game will choose which gear sets you use. Well, which gold you use. Like, maybe it might, like I said, all heals. Next one might be glass cannon. Another time might be a mixture of both. Another time might be, it just depends on what the game chooses, but it's all random. So you go into the situation with a random set, but everybody has the same set. There's no changing it. There's no nothing. You just have to function with the set that you're given. But it kind of puts everybody on the same playing field. So you're not dealing with striker and you got a nomad, or you're dealing with a striker and a preds. No, everybody's using gold. And like I said, you're either glass cannon, heal, or you're a balance of both. But the game will decide that. I know some people are gonna be like, "Oh, well, that's not really a good idea, whatever." But it puts you on the same playing field. It puts you on par with the next team. And what's really gonna stand out is who has the best synergy. That's when you will know what team is the best. But you're working with healer builds. only healer builds, not DPS, and it's gonna come down to who can outplay who. You can't, no camping. You can't sit in the back of the map and have people just sit back and snipe you. You're gonna be forced to engage the other team, because if you're inactive for too long, not moving, whatever, you're thrown out the game. And that team automatic forfeits. But if you do try to leave the game like at any time outside of your loss, uh, yeah, you're penalized, you know what I mean? And you can't jump back in the game for at least 5 minutes, and that's just to discourage people from leaving if your team is losing. And this is when you're just, doing random matchmaking, because in most cases, if you're doing private matches, excuse me, you're gonna go in with your own squad. So I'm thinking that a 4v4, uh, you got three chances, and that means three matches. But if you die once in any of those matches, you're out for that match. There's no your team res you, or you got a timer that resurrects you. No, it's if you die in that one match, you're dead. So if you get focused down and you die, that's four players that your three teammates got to deal with, and it's basically will come down to who's the better team. Okay, and then you got another one. Since people complain about manhunts, and how about if you do a survival, you versus the whole team? Like, and I'm not talking about 1v4. I'm talking about you versus a certain amount of players, but you decide it. You can either you go in a private match and open it up to the public to where you're facing whoever comes in there. But the thing is, you can choose any gear set that you want to use, but the other team that facing you, they can't use nothing but golds. Since it's gonna be like, say, if you go into like a like kind of like a situation like this, like if you're a survival mode, but it's like it's just you against a squad, and say like if you choose to use striker, but they can only use golds. Well, you figure if it's 20 people versus one, you know what I mean? It's like, think about it, and not just a lot of people, there's going to be some people like, oh, well, that's not going to work because striker is king. Yeah, but if you don't know how to use striker, you're going to get bodied. Like in this situation, I was surviving for a long time. I was using nomad, but I didn't get none of my nomads to proc, but I was able to survive for a long time. So just imagine, if you're running up against a squad, you got golds, it's 20 versus 1, like you're at a disadvantage. Or you can set the modifier for like some sort of handicap, what I mean, to where maybe you use a gold set and you go up against nothing but gold sets. But what I mean, it's just the way it is, what I mean. That will set you apart from a lot of people if you can survive basically a manhunt by yourself in a set environment, and they got to a certain time to actually kill you for good. You know what I mean? Like you can you're basically in there just battling the whole time, and it's on them to drop you. You can set the time for like 5 minutes. You can set the time for 3 minutes. You can set the time, whatever. It's like you set the modifiers when you're doing private, but basically it's a 1v all in a set environment. So, and they can't just burst you down with all like green sets. It's just basically you versus all golds, but you get to pick whatever gear set you want, but you still have to face those 20 randoms that come out of nowhere. So yeah, I'm thinking that's one. I'm thinking the one that I mentioned before, the 4v4 permadeath. When you die, you're out for that match, and you got three chances in three matches to be able to, the best out of three. And I'm thinking also maybe another one where squad faces squad, and then it's like a certain level that your squad has to get into in order to, it's still permadeath. So it's like, okay, you can set the modifier yourself, and it'd be like, okay, the best of three. Maybe you can keep responding if that's what you want, or maybe you just set the modifier to like you guys battle it out for you get four matches, permadeath, or maybe you get two reses, and after that, if you die, like if you die after this if you die the second time, you're out for that match. So basically you leave your squad at a disadvantage. And then, so at that level, you're just constantly leveling up. You know what I mean? And your squad, the more wins you get, the higher your squad is placed. And can't no random. And even it's like if you get to the point to where it's like you got like 15 wins or something, a random squad that has no wins can't just come in and challenge you. It has to be a squad that has equal amount of wins in order to be able to challenge you. And then you get to the point, it's like maybe you win something. Like if you get a certain amount of wins, or you stay on top, you get this type of gear set. Maybe you're missing a gear set. Maybe you want to, it just comes down to excuse me, prizes. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, you win this, you're at the top of the leaderboard, and it's just like your squad is just wrecking everybody. And like I said, the only person that can challenge your squad is a squad of equal wins. So if your KD is garbage, you know what I mean, and you've won a couple of games, I can't challenge you if you've won like 15, 16 games in a row or something of that nature, you know what I mean? But it's basically like, how should I say, like, the West Side Pier, when you go through the waves of ads like that constantly, but you're challenging a 4v4 constantly, or maybe a 5v5 or 6v6, but it's a constant challenge. Just imagine the team that's able to hold that down for like for a few hours. Like, okay, every team you go up against, you've wiped out, and then once you wipe them out, another team of equal status, you gotta face them and knock them down. And once you knock them down, it's like a constant climb. And you can, after a certain amount of wins, you get your rewards. You know what I mean? It's just basically, it's an all-out war, all-out survival, squad versus squad. But it's just, the only thing that's different is when they die twice, they don't get back up, depending on how the modifier is set. But I know I've been talking like crazy, and trying to formulate it, but hopefully, like, you got like just me, you got like Gourmet J, and like, all these people upper echelon that really like can focus on the details, and they can probably iron it out. My whole thing is just throwing it out there, like what if, but before I go any further, I'm just gonna say, just think about it. Just think about it. I'm gonna reiterate something. 4v4, best out of three. You die once in the match, you're dead. You don't get back up until the next match starts. Uh, and then the one that loses, the team that loses gets dropped down. The team that wins gets bumped up one extra rank, and the whole thing is for them to constantly keep beating teams in order for them to get to a certain level. And then after you get to a certain level, not a random. It's like if you've won 6 games straight, the team that you face has to do the same. They have to have won 5 games straight, and if they can't, then they don't face you. A team has to be able to face you that had equal value. You know what I mean? Like, I can't face you like if I've had only 2 wins straight. I had to have had 5 wins, and then also it may factor in the KD. Like, how, okay, you got 5 wins, but how many kills did you get within that time? It's just based on skill set. And I think if you did something like that, a lot of teams that thought they were good won't survive. You know what I mean? Especially when you're forced to use nothing but green gear. I mean, nothing but gold sets, and all the same, all on equal footing. Nobody's greater than the next. It's like, hey, you got to use the same gold set that I use, same guns that I use, so it's no difference. It's like same. Or you might have, like, it's like if you have a 1v1, I mean a 1v server, and there's a certain handicap set for them, like they have to use gold, and they have to use, and say, like, it's kind of like uh as you're fighting the whole thing, you're cycling constantly through, kind of like the one gear set, Alpha Bridge. You're constantly cycling through, supers, the ults. Maybe you might, after a certain time, you get in a situation, you'll have something like, you'll get a blue, and the blue will last for a certain amount of time, and then depending on how many people you're killing, it depends on how long it lasts, and then maybe you get that buff where you get that extra damage, and then so on and so forth, just based on that level, or just the way, I mean, like I said, upper echelon and them can really like iron out the details. Just I'm just giving a broad idea of what it would be like if you had like certain modifiers. But like I said, hopefully Jasmine or one of them will see this and they'll really like put it together and iron it out. Not saying this is a mode that is going to be in a game, but it's just something to think about. Maybe somebody could tell the devs, and but a 4v4 permadeath, like it's a challenge to survive. It's already a challenge just to survive in division. But all gear sets, all on even playing field, everything, no matter what it, and they choose. But anyways, well, that I just wanted to close. My name is Sire the Risen. Hopefully you like what I like, and subscribe, drop a like, and hopefully I'll do more division videos. And that's pretty much it. You enjoy the rest of your day. I am out. Late defeated.